Hello there, fellow travellers. Martin Pavey here. Welcome back to the channel. Really happy that you're here. Hope you're having a great day. Sometimes you just have to make the decision, and I don't want to sound like I'm being tyrannical, but a certain something has happened during the course of very early this morning and now. And sometimes I feel conflicted about making certain decisions, but there are times when you have to put words into action, and sometimes, you know, people are full of a lot of talk but very little action, and sometimes I feel like I sort of feel a bit crazy for doing it, but sometimes I feel like I just have to force people's hands, make decisions that if I don't, then nothing will happen. But this particular thing that I did last night is actually it's not in itself a massive deal, but the reason I feel conflicted over it is because I've made a sort of a unilateral decision on a communal issue. Now, the reality is that the people around me, they're probably not going to actually be that bothered, but I'm bothered by it because I always strive to be a man of integrity. You know, I don't like to contradict myself. I like to practice what I preach and also uphold, you know, good principles. But sometimes that's hard. You know, I can't lie. Sometimes it's quite difficult. But this particular decision is something that has been bugging me for quite a long time. And so I took quite a bold stance on this particular issue. And I'm happy, actually, I can't lie, I'm happy about the end result. But, you know, sometimes it feels really uncomfortable. It sort of feels a bit awkward now, but the truth is that if you find yourself, you know, tormented and second guessing yourself over one or many things, what you have to appreciate is the reason that you're doing those things, that you're agonizing over it, is that it's done. It's, you know, there's so many things that we can very easily beat ourselves up about, but they're done. They are done, and you have to deal with the reality of the situation. But sometimes, you know, that can feel a bit awkward, a bit uncomfortable, but I advocate for living, you know, in the present moment as much as possible, because none of this stuff is just as easy as water off a duck's back. You know, it's sometimes it feels more difficult to accept, you know, that you have done what you have done. But as I say, whilst advocating for living in the present moment, there are certain times where it can be useful to think, well, okay, in 6 months or a year or 5 or 10 years time, will this particular decision, will it matter? You know? And the truth is, if you think about certain situations in that way, it can take some of the pressure off, because you realize, well, you know, no, it won't matter. Maybe there'll be ill will on the part of some people, or, you know, consternation, or maybe slight resentment, but we have to deal with other people, and we have to deal with how they behave. And if you're making decisions in good faith, and you're advancing things on, and you're letting the people around you know how, you know, your stance is on things, I still think it's a positive thing, even if you feel like I do, I sort of feel a little bit, in the aftermath, I feel a little bit guilty about having made the decision. But again, it's not a massive deal in and of itself, and there's far worse stuff, you know, going on in the world as we speak. And you know, I haven't actually, it's nothing to do with directly hurting other people. There's no malice involved in it. It's just a situation I wanted resolved, and I have taken it upon myself. Some might say selfishly. I do feel a bit selfish about this, but I have taken it upon myself to make a decision on behalf of a lot of other people. But I don't know what their opinion will be on the subject, how bothered they'll be. The truth is, I'm bothered, and that's why I'm talking about it. But sometimes we make shitty decisions, and I'm not kind of doing a sort of mea culpa, please forgive me kind of video. But whatever has happened, it's done. And as much as you can, you have to move on from it. You have to be as philosophical about it as possible, deal with whatever blowback might arise. But will it matter in 5 years' time? Nah, it won't. It won't. Because we can't predict the future, but we can have a pretty clear sense of, you know, is this going to affect the entire trajectory of my future life? Nah, no, it won't. So I'm not going to do the sort of, oh, you must be kind to yourself, which, I mean, you must, you should. And hopefully in the future, you make more peaceful decisions, and say openly what you want to happen with the people around you. Let that be clear, and yeah, and keep soldiering on, keep taking the steps, be more powerful every day, learn from every experience, very important, and live a more peaceful and independent life. That's my current theme. So hang in there, keep going, and don't beat yourself up. Don't assume that you're a terrible person, because the reality is that you're not. Just keep moving towards and making better decisions for yourself. Thank you very much for listening. Martin Pavey here. Please do like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Ciao for now.